Hello, my name is Kevin Phelan. I am the Executive Director with the Virtual World's Best Practice in Education Conference, and I'm here today to speak a little bit about the Virtual World's Best Practice in Education Conference. This year, we're doing a little bit of a switch from previous years. This is the 6th year that we will have been running this particular conference. And we've sort of moved the dates around a little bit. Traditionally, we've had it in March. Now we've moved it to July. So it's going to be coming up the weekend, the weekend of July 24th to 27th. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through a number of aspects in terms of where we are with regards to the conference, different things that are coming up with regards to the conference, where we're going with it, and then I'll finish off with an opportunity for some questions and answers. Just to let people know, we are doing this particular session in both Skype and Second Life. And as a result, I have my sound turned down in Second Life. So if there's any questions, if you could please just pop them into local chat. And feel free to ask questions throughout the presentation. I'll repeat the question for the Skype call, and we'll move forward from there. So just to give a little bit of background on VWBPE, and yes, there is a small stipend that we get out for anybody who can say that 5 times fast. Second Life is not Second Life, but VWBPE has been around since 2007. Second Life has really been the home to the Best Practice in Education Conference. This is a grassroots conference that was actually started for educators by educators. And throughout the years, we have always tried to keep to those particular principles in terms of keeping it open source, keeping it available, keeping it away from system access and other controls, such that when people come and they present at this particular conference, that information is then in turn made available for other educators and for other organizations to use in making their own determinations on how best to use these particular tools and these particular virtual environments. The conference is very unique in that it's one of the first of its kind to allow educators from around the world to share ideas on how to use 3D immersive environments. This really is one of those groundbreaking conferences. And, prior to a number of the other ones sort of getting on board with doing virtual and 3D, this one was sort of there. And as I said, it started in about 2007. In 2009, we rebranded the conference because originally it was called the Second Life Best Practices in Education Conference. So it was rebranded as Virtual Worlds. And our goal was to open the conference up to best practices using any virtual environment. So Second Life, World of Warcraft, Club Penguin, VenueGen, OpenSim, EVE Online, Sococo, WebEx, any particular type of virtual environment in which people share knowledge and collaborate on projects. So while Second Life is our base of operations, the conference usually draws people from around the metaverse. It's not strictly related to Second Life. And as such, it's provided a vast wealth of information that educators and institutions can draw upon to make informed decisions. So, and as I said, the conference will run from July 24th to 22nd, which for those people in Second Life is the weekend right after Relay for Life. So I'm just going to give a very quick plug there. If you haven't heard about Relay for Life, certainly go check it out. The conference organizers there have been doing a phenomenal job in terms of doing all of the setup, and that is certainly something well worth taking a look at as well, in addition to our conference, obviously. So VWBPE, how big is this conference? Well, the conference draws anywhere between 150 to 200 presenters. We usually get over about 2,000 attendees. And in general, we have a small army of 200 to 250 volunteers that originate from, like I said, all over the world, like 90 plus countries around the world. The conference itself is one of the largest conferences for educators anywhere in the world. To give you some examples, the Sloan C conference draws approximately 1,200 attendees. The TCC one is up in that particular neighborhood as well. The AACE eLearn conference is generally runs around 1,000. Other conferences, though, such as the American Educational Research Association and ISTE, so the International Society for Technology and Education, they typically run around 15,000 attendees. So we're not quite as large as those, but this is certainly not a small conference. And this conference is very unique in that all of the conferences that I just mentioned have a fairly substantial cost associated with them. It ranges anywhere from a couple $100, getting up close to $1,000 per person in order to attend these conferences. Our conference is free. It started off being free. It's going to continue to be free. Like I said, this is by educators, for educators, and we are trying to make this as inclusive as possible. So, make no mistake, this is a fairly significant conference in terms of what we're doing with this particular environment and with regards to the program. Right now, tonight actually, is the final night for getting proposals into the committee. So for those who need the information, unfortunately, I'm not going to read the URLs out here, but I will publish them inside Second Life here. The proposal guidelines can be found on our website at VWBPE.org. The direct link is put in local chat here. We have a number of submission categories, including theoretical and research papers, best practices showcase, games and simulations, machinima, K through 12, tools and productivity tools, posters, panels, roundtables, and exploration of virtual worlds. In order to submit a proposal, you just simply go to VWBPE.org. And like I said, there's a stipend for, there's a small token, if you could say that 5 times fast. So the information is there. You just look for the link that says the front desk, and it will walk you through everything that you sort of need to know. Each year, we try to introduce a new element to the program, and certainly this year is no different. In the past, this conference has been extremely focused on Second Life, and while we have had virtual world tours, until this year, we've never really tried to expand beyond Second Life. Well, this year is going to be different. This year is going to be the first time that we're actually going to try to run the conference across 3 or 4 different virtual worlds. Or different virtual environments, to be more specific. So the 4 main ones that we're looking at are Second Life, OpenSim, Cloud Party, and then Unity, not quite as a virtual world, which all the Unity people keep reminding me of, but as a virtual environment. And, we, right at the moment, I know approximately how many we've got for each of these particular platforms. So it's shaping up to be a really good conference coming up. I mean, we generally get a fair number of presentations every year, and this year looks to be no exception. One of the things, however, that we are going to do, which is going to be a little bit of a change from previous years, is we're changing up the nature of the exploration of virtual worlds. Last year, Kayvon and Abacus, who were co-chairs with regards to the programs committee, introduced this idea of a concept of a MOOC to the conference. And as part of that, that was extremely well received in terms of the work that they did in that particular area. So much so that this year what we've decided to do with regards to the conference is we've decided to expand on that particular concept. And in fact, we're moving all of the virtual world explorations into their own little MOOC, which is going to happen after the main portion of the conference is over. So one of the reasons why we're doing that is because what we have found is that when we go and we try to do a virtual world tour, such as to bring people into World of Warcraft, Club Penguin, Minecraft, Venue Gen, any of these particular types of areas. We have people that are very dedicated to wanting to show everybody what those particular platforms are capable of and what you can do in the classroom with regards to these platforms. The challenge, however, is that, for people who show up to the conference and are just saying, "Ooh, I'd really like to go see that," and then they realize that something like, World of Warcraft is all of a sudden 8 gigabyte download. It makes it very hard to conduct a 1 hour tour session with that particular type of a format. So we've decided that we're actually going to extend the concept of the conference going forward and include this 4-week MOOC component to the end of it, where all the virtual world tours are going to happen there. And it will give people an opportunity to really spend some quality time with regards to each of these different virtual world tours that we have, so that they get an opportunity that they can spend the appropriate amount of time to get it set up, to establish an account if they need to get in there, to play a little bit, and then to really see what the true benefits of the platform are. And so that's a big change for us for this year. It's something that we're hoping is going to be something that we will be continuing into the future. Another thing that makes this conference unique is our work with virtual abilities and trying to make the conference as accessible as possible to people with disabilities. To give you an idea, certain areas that we are working within, so for example, Cloud Party, for example, while this is a really robust virtual environment, it is very difficult for people who have disabilities to work with inside that particular environment because some of the tools are just simply not there right at the moment. So as part of this particular conference, we don't want to exclude anybody, and based upon their ability to hear, to see, their capability of using a mouse or a keyboard. So we have a number of different things that we're going to be doing as part of the conference in order to ensure that the conference is fully accessible by people regardless of their ability or disability in terms of being able to work with these particular environments. It's really interesting. It's how do I put this? It's extremely interesting to watch people sort of come in here who have these challenges that they have to deal with, and watch some of the very innovative solutions that they have to working in a virtual environment. And some of the most amazing innovation actually comes from a lot of these people who have these challenges that they need to overcome in order to work effectively with the environment. And so, there is a lot that people can learn from these particular areas and looking at accessibility and looking at accessibility issues. So, we're very proud to be working with virtual abilities and to be incorporating a lot of their suggestions and feedback into the conference, and we are going to continue to do that as we move forward. One of the other new things that's happening for this year is that we have a new submission process. And this is, again, one of these things that has been born out of necessity, is the fact that if you take a look at a lot of the conference software that's available out there, it really doesn't address the needs of trying to work with inside a virtual environment. As I tell people, it's kind of interesting to be running a conference where everybody that shows up is suffering from multiple personality disorders. Insofar as you have your real life persona, and then you have one or more avatars as part of each and every virtual world environment that you are involved in. So quite often people will have 2 or 3 different avatars in Second Life, plus they'll have their World of Warcraft one and their EVE Online one and their, these other different virtual environments that they're involved with. So in order to manage the conference effectively, we really needed to have the ability, 2 different things really. One is to associate the presenter information with their avatar information. And the other challenge, which, and again, you would think that a lot of these people who are presenting online conference software would get this concept, but apparently not. Scheduling a virtual conference things, such as what we're doing here with the Second Life 10th birthday party. The ability to schedule conference information with inside a virtual setting and not have to constantly say, well, here's the location, and Google Map keeps wanting to try to map it someplace geographically, which of course is never really going to happen. So both of these problems have required us to come up with some unique business rules and some business requirements for developing our own conference software, and that is in development as we speak. We're sort of working with an alpha version of the software as we're moving forward. And we're using a very, for those people familiar with project management, we are using a very agile approach to how we're going about this. Essentially means that we've got a couple of hiccups as we're going along, as some agile projects will tend to be. But at the same time, we feel that we're going to have a much stronger piece of conference software afterwards that allows us to do a lot for the community and a lot for the not only the education community but also for the Second Life community as we start to move forward with a lot of the features that software is going to entail. So for those people who are submitting a proposal, I think it's important to note that, as I said, the deadline for getting your proposal submissions is tonight, June 22nd. So it is important that you get that information into us tonight. There will be no further extensions of the deadline beyond today. The other two things is that if you've already submitted or if you've saved a presentation, we would ask that you please go back in and just cross-check to ensure that you see that it in fact has been submitted. Like I said, we are making changes to the software as we go along. And we just want to make sure that if anybody has any final edits to make, that they get those in again tonight. They get their proposals submitted and into it, that we can have the reviewers review those over the next week or two. The acceptance letters will be going out starting July 6th, which I realize is about 2 weeks before the conference is due to start. It's one of the benefits and the drawbacks of working with a virtual conference is that we can work very close to a deadline, but at the same time that raises challenges because I realize people like to have a lot of this information way up front. Having said that, I know the number of submissions that are coming in at the last second are fairly substantial. So we do need a little bit of time to make sure that everybody gets a review. Volunteers. As I mentioned earlier, this conference runs off of a small army of 200 to 250 volunteers. And this year especially, we're looking for mentors and greeters who are familiar with Second Life, obviously, OpenSim, and Cloud Party in order to help with the greeting function and to help with managing the stages in those particular areas. So there's lots of things that we're looking for people to do. So if anybody is interested in helping out with volunteering, there is a sign-up sheet, again, on our website. Just posting the direct link in local chat here right at the moment. And, something it is... I'm quite sure, whether you look at Relay for Life, whether you look at SL10B, if you look at VWBPE, a lot of these particular conferences are all done based upon volunteers who have essentially a love of the environment and a love for giving back to the community. And so, whether it's this conference or another conference, well worth getting involved with volunteering for something like this. And, it's something that I can only, highly recommend for people. It gives you an incredible opportunity to meet new people and to get involved with different communities. So if you get an opportunity to volunteer, like I said, for our conference or even for any of the others, right, it would be a huge help to those people who manage and try to put on conferences like this and events like the SL10B. Registration. This is another area where we're very unique in terms of how we approach our particular conference. Our conference is open to anybody who essentially wants to attend. And we do that deliberately because we don't want to be restrictive. We want to make this information, the presentations, the information, the workshops, the tools, we want to make these available to the widest audience as possible. So we do have a registration page, and we actually found that part of the reason why we needed that is because a lot of educators actually require a receipt for their educational institutions if they're going to take a day off to go to a conference like this. Notwithstanding, those numbers also help us for planning purposes. And so if you get an opportunity to register, it also gives us, an opportunity that we can send information to people who have pre-registered so that they have the most up-to-date information as possible on what's going on with the conference. So if there's an opportunity to pre-register, please do. We're using Eventbrite for our registration, and that's VWBPE 13.eventbrite.com. So if you get an opportunity to register, please do. The other thing that I think is extremely important with regards to this conference is the exact nature and the extent of the conference archives that are available after the conference is over. And these are huge with regards to both educators and educational institutions. It's one thing to come into an environment like this and to sit in front of a group of people that will range anywhere from, 10, 20, 30, 50. In some cases, you get up into 100, 120, 150 people showing up to various different presentations and workshops. But the ability to have that information and to have that information available after that particular presentation is over is extremely important to the community, and being able to leverage off of what people are doing as part of this for the purposes of being able to establish new classroom material, new ideas, new concepts, new ways of going about things, being able to pitch to your faculties in terms of the benefits that these particular conferences, these particular environments can bring to education. So we have a number of archives that we maintain throughout the year, and these are available, again, without charge, to anybody that needs to access them. So the first one is the conference proceedings, which is the Journal of Virtual Studies. This is a publication managed by Rockcliffe University. And as part of that, at the end of each conference, a proceedings journal is put together that describes all of the presentations and where all of the materials are that have been submitted to that particular conference, so that information is always available to people afterwards. Another one of the archives that we have available is through YouTube, and for the Machinima and the Machinima Fest things, anything that's been submitted as a Machinima presentation, we have a VWBPE YouTube channel in which we have playlists set up where we've consolidated all of those particular videos, and those videos are available for people to go and to watch and to look at and see what other people have done. Some of the videos that are there are just absolutely incredible because, we get a whole range of people submitting video to the conference. Some are from people who do Machinima professionally. Others are coming from kids who are 12, 13 years old, and it's just absolutely incredible to watch some of the creativity and innovation that comes out of these kids, especially that are submitting to the conference under the watchful eyes of their instructors or their teachers. So very interesting to go and watch some of the things that we have there on YouTube. Two other major resources for us. One is Treat TV, and the other one is Metaverse TV. previous lectures from the Virtual World's Best Practice in Education Conference are on both of these particular websites. So both Treat and Metaverse TV, and Mel Burns and a number of other people have been very much involved with us in terms of ensuring that the keynote, the feature presenters, a lot of the material that can be videotaped has been videotaped, and we have an archive of that available. So again, links are both on our website and in the local chat here, so you get an opportunity to see what's there. The other thing that we've been doing is we've been accumulating SlideShare presentations as they've been made available to us through SlideShare. So as people have said, they've come in, they've given their presentation, they said, by the way, here's my slides, they're on SlideShare. We've been putting them together as part of an archive through SlideShare, and so that information is available as well. So there's a lot of really good information that's sitting out there that can be referenced, that can be cited. Anything from the Journal of Virtual Studies can be cited as peer review in terms of any academic research that's being done as part of what's here. So, those are extremely important, and we have been busy trying to ensure that all of that information, or as much information from each of these conferences, is being preserved so that it's available for others to use. Now, having said that, the funding for this, and I keep saying that the funding, free as we go all the way down the line, as anybody that runs any type of a conference knows, you don't necessarily put on conferences like this for free. So, there's always some costs that are associated with it. In our particular case, we are completely funded through donations and sponsorships. So, it does take a little bit of funding in order to make a conference like this happen. And so this year, we've been doing two different things with regards to that, which we've been trying for the first time. Usually we do have our sponsors that we do go out to and help to try to raise money. The other thing that we've been doing this year is we have been looking at a site called Indiegogo, and we've also been making the ability for people, as part of the registration process, that if they would like to donate, it's not required. If they would like to donate, that they can do so. And that contributes to our ability in order to maintain a lot of these archives and to record the video for the presentations as we go along. So it's one of those things where we have a very modest budget that we use in order to put the conference together. All funding goes directly into conference programming. Absolutely none of it goes to individuals who are organizing or doing anything else with the conference along those lines. And the more funding that we have, the more that we can do with the conference. So, there's tons of things that obviously, as the dollar figures go up, I mean, there's certain things that you can do and can't do. So either way, this is sort of where we're sitting at right at the moment. We've been fairly fortunate in that every year for the last 6 years, we've always had enough sponsorship come through the door in order to meet the requirements in order to put the conference on. And we've been extremely fortunate that the community has been extremely generous in that regard. Especially people, and I have to put a thank you out to people such as Thinkerer, Selby Evans, who, without whom, conferences like this would just simply not exist. I mean, you get people like Thinkerer, and you get people like the Avicon folks who have been, extremely involved with SL, the Second Life Communities Conference in the past and what have you. Without people like this out there that are helping sponsor these particular types of things, programs like this just don't happen. I mean, same thing with the Second Life 10B, same thing with Relay for Life. All of these particular types of events run based upon people willing to volunteer and to contribute. And it's amazing to be part of a community that is so dedicated to believing in what these particular environments are capable of doing and what the benefits of this really are. So, that's essentially it in terms of the conference. I mean, like I said, the conference is coming up July 27th, 24th through 27th. The MOOC portion will run for about 4 weeks after that. We should start seeing information on the actual program schedule by July 6th when the letters start to go out. And, we're really hoping for a good turnout at this year's conference again. So, if you want to get more information about the conference, obviously, and I know I keep repeating this, but, you can check out the website at VWBPE, Best Practice in Education Conference.com. .org, not .com. My apologies. You can also find us on Facebook, and you can find us on Twitter. Right? So again, twitter.com/VWBPE. We're also using 2 hashtags for this year. One is hashtag VWBPE, and the other one is hashtag VWBPE13. So either one of those will be highlighted on the Twitter feed with regards to this particular conference. So this is essentially what I want to provide in terms of information for people. Obviously, come out, volunteer, participate, have fun. The conference itself is just a wonderful opportunity in order to meet people and to learn new ideas and to see what's going on. And I know, especially last year, there were just so many engaging presentations that were provided, and a lot of hands-on workshops and a lot of new and innovative ways of approaching virtual environments and how we get to collaboratively work with those going forward. It may seem that mobile technology seems to be ruling the roost right at the moment in terms of where, everybody's talking about the latest mobile app and what have you. But, there is still a very strong core following behind a lot of these 3D virtual technologies and where this sort of fits in amongst everything else. I think you'll find that there is a lot of very innovative ideas coming out of this particular conference. And, hopefully we will see you and see your friends. Come to the conference. Like I said, it's open, it's free. And, basically all you need to do is, set up an account in Second Life and show up. Just to let people know, obviously, Cloud Party is the other environment, and Cloud Party is fairly unique in terms of being able to register through there. That is a Facebook type of environment. It's not a Facebook type environment. You can log on using your Facebook account if you would like, or you can register on there directly. It's a browser-based interface, so it is a very simple interface to get into. The other environment that we're in is Jocadia Grid for OpenSim, and that is hypergrid enabled. So if you are in another grid which has the hypergrid available to you, then all you need to do is jump over to Jocadia Grid during the conference, and we will be there, and we'll probably be doing a couple of little hypergrid tours as well. So something to look forward to there. That's basically it for all I've got right at the moment. If there's any questions, then we've got about 10 minutes here for question and answer. Okay, well, if there's no, and Adrian, thank you very much. If there's no question and answer, then I think we'll wrap it up there, and the next presenter will be on at 3 p.m. Second Lifetime.